Hi, hello, and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to the bookstore. I actually went yesterday, it's the day after, and I very specifically went there to get like cozy fantasy type of books because in my head going into November, that was gonna be kind of like my theme for the month. But when we got there, I basically went in like the complete opposite direction. Now that we're back from the bookstore, let's go ahead and see what we got. I'm literally so excited. I did not think I was gonna be this excited for this specific collection of books because I've kind of been avoiding them like the plague. Romance is kind of what I started this channel off reading the most of, but I've kind of like, as this channel has progressed, as my reading has progressed, I've wanted to get into other genres, and it actually has been, I feel like, a while since I've read a romance novel. So we're kind of like getting back into our romance era a little bit, and what better way to do that than with some of the most hyped romance books I have ever seen. The first one is Flawless by Elsie Silver. This series in particular was a series that I didn't really care to get into because honestly, I hated the covers. Typically when books get new covers, I tend to prefer the original covers. Not with this one. I know a lot of people, specifically the people that have already read this series, do really love the original covers. Like a Western aesthetic is probably one of my least favorites, and I think the original covers just like really screamed Western. But these ones I think are cute. It gives kind of like the Western vibe without being like too much. Everyone seems to love this series. I really honestly don't think I've heard anyone say that they don't like this series, so I'm excited about them. And for whatever reason, when I was filming, I totally neglected to explain what any of these books are about. So this one is a small town romance. And I do think each book in the series follows different people within the same universe. And this one specifically is about a guy named Rhett, and he is a professional bull rider, and essentially he gets into a fight and his agent tells him he needs to clean up his image and basically assigns his own daughter to be his quote, babysitter. And the romance is basically between the daughter of his agent and the bull rider. The second romance novel that we have is The Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. And this is actually one that I have been avoiding mostly because of the topic of it. This is basically a mafia romance, which mafia romances don't at all sound like something that I would like. However, there are two things that have kind of changed my mind. Alexa Ray, she talks about this series quite a bit, and every time she does, I'm just like, I have to read this series. Also too, another thing that really drew me to this series to begin with was the covers. I would not in a million years have guessed that a cover with strawberries on it was a mafia romance, but I kind of like that. I think that's fun. And then also there's one with like a ballerina, but it also looks like she has like some handcuffs on, which is intriguing. There's another one with cowboy boots, which I watched a book by Alexa Ray, and she's a big romance reader. I think the majority of what she reads is romance, and she was talking about that cowboy book in this series. She said it reminded her a lot of the vibes of this series. So, but then the other thing that kind of like tipped me over the edge to get this book and make me feel like the mafia romance might actually be something that I'm into is I just recently read Wretched from Emily McIntyre, which is the third book in the Never After series. And that one had very kind of like, maybe not mafia specifically, but it was definitely like leader of a drug ring type of situation, and I loved that one. Wretched was actually one of my favorites, surprisingly. Like, I read the back of that book and I was like, oh, I'm gonna hate this, but it ended up being one of my favorites from the entire series so far. So maybe I actually do like mafia romance and I just don't realize it. So we're gonna try this out, see how this goes. I do actually have the highest hopes, I think, for this one. And aside from it just being a mafia romance, more specifically, this book is about two rivalry families, and the daughter of one of the families crashes a party at the other family and accidentally sets fire to their house. And the father's kind of way of rectifying this situation is to marry her off to one of the sons of the other family. So I'm actually really intrigued by this one because it looks like it's going to have two of my favorite tropes in it, which is enemies to lovers and like a forced proximity type of situation. So I'm actually really excited about this one. While I was at the bookstore, I fully intended on buying Shatter Me, but whoever decided to do the last run of that book cover decided to put one of those non-removable like sticker images on the cover. If it was like, oh, winner of this prize or whatever, it probably wouldn't have bothered me as much. I still wouldn't have liked it. Like, I don't understand why they can't just put like a regular sticker on it that I can take off. But if you're gonna do that, like, make it like an award or something. The little sticker image that was actually on the book though was like an advertisement telling you about what I'm assuming is the newest book from that same author. Who decided that was a good idea? So anyway, long story long, we didn't get that book from Barnes & Noble. However, we did get it from the library. And because we were on a mission to get Shatter Me, I didn't really browse the library like I typically do. I just went straight to the young adult section, but I did get distracted. I saw The Brothers Hawthorne, which is the newest book in the Inheritance Games series, and I almost got it, but I ended up leaving it behind. Let me know if it's something that I should read. But I did end up getting The Daughter of Smoke and Bone, which is a book that I randomly came across while I was shopping on Blackwell's website. The cover in the UK is a lot better than the US version, and I was very tempted to get it, but I decided to get it from my library to try it out first before I buy like the entire series. And honestly, I don't really know what this book is about. I read the synopsis and I'm still confused. It's very vague, but it did mention basically her not knowing who she is or like what she is, and the fact that she's an artist or something, and that there's a war going on. So to be determined on how that series goes. And then it was finally time to look up Shatter Me, and it did take me a long time to find for some reason. Like, the young adult section is not big, but I don't know. I was literally staring straight at it and didn't see it for a good few minutes. And this book actually sounds so intriguing. It's basically about someone with a lethal touch, which I love the concept of, especially because this is a romance series. I'm pretty sure, like a fantasy romance. And I'm actually kind of annoyed that I've been avoiding this series for so long. I don't know why, because this sounds so good. And with that, those are all of the books that I have for this bookstore/library vlog. I hope you guys have had the most amazing of days, and I will hopefully see you in my next one. Bye.